As we scroll down, we have slightly more information for each one of these categories. Let's first look at glucose. We have the average, standard deviation, values per day as above. But what we're also able to see is the highest and lowest values. These can be very useful when looking at the extreme incidence. So the highest that a person has been and how they coped with that, as well as the lowest that a patient has been and how they coped with that. If you look at the graph on the right hand side, you can actually see how they've performed at various different times of day, what their averages have been throughout the day, the number of tests they've done throughout the day, and how much they're fluctuating. So if a person is working 9 to 5, 5 days a week, over a 2-week period, we would have expected them to drive to work 10 times and driven back 10 times. So if they're working at 9 o'clock in the morning, we can see that we should have 10 tests here perhaps, or between 4 and 6, we should have 10 tests on the drive home. Obviously, it's up to the clinician to decide what is acceptable, but that is how you can use it to really gauge an understanding of how a patient is getting on. Next to this, on the right hand side, we see a donut graph where you can see the percentage of results that are above, within, or below a patient's specific target range. As we scroll down, we have all the exact information as above, but for CGM. You'll see that the highest and lowest values are much different. The highest here is 22.3 and the lowest is 2.2, whereas for blood glucose, the highest was only 12.4. So this would prompt obviously conversations between the clinician and patient with regards to management, and the clinician can investigate various different points of patient behaviour using this information. As you scroll down towards the insulin category, you can see the average daily insulin units, how much these fluctuate, the average daily basal and boluses, as well as the ratios of basal to bolus. On the right hand side, you're able to see if a patient has been overriding their specific insulin pump, or the levels of carbs, etc., that a patient has been having. When you look at the donut graph on the right hand side, you can also see the percentage of basal to bolus, which is a good indication of if a patient is using more bolus to make up for perhaps shortfalls in the basal. But again, all of this information is for a clinician to run through and use to give their own advice. That is how you would use the Compilation tab to drill down into patient data during a consultation.